which 999 billion percent of the time you are full-blooded, which 999 billion percent of the time. How am I full-blooded, which 999 billion percent of the time? Why am I full-blooded, which 999 billion percent of the time? Was I always full-blooded, which 999 billion percent of the time? I am already full-blooded, which 999 billion percent of the time. You are already full-blooded, which 999 billion percent of the time. How am I already full-blooded, which 999 billion percent of the time? Why am I already full-blooded, which 999 billion percent of the time? Was I always full-blooded, which 999 billion percent of the time? I am full-blooded Scarlet, which 999 billion percent of the time. You are full-blooded Scarlet, which 999 billion percent of the time. How am I full-blooded Scarlet, which 999 billion percent of the time? Why am I full-blooded Scarlet, which 999 billion percent of the time? Was I always full-blooded Scarlet, which 999 billion percent of the time? I have the highest level of all magic powers, 999 billion percent of the time. You have the highest level of all magic powers, 999 billion percent of the time. How do I have the highest level of all magic powers, 999 billion percent of the time? Why do I have the highest level of all magic powers, 999 billion percent of the time? Did I always have the highest level of all magic powers, 999 billion percent of the time? I have the highest level of all magic skills, 999 billion percent of the time. You have the highest level of all magic skills, 999 billion percent of the time. How do I have the highest level of all magic skills, 999 billion percent of the time? Why do I have the highest level of all magic skills, 999 billion percent of the time? Did I always have the highest level of all magic skills, 999 billion percent of the time? I have the highest level of all magic abilities, 999 billion percent of the time. You have the highest level of all magic abilities, 999 billion percent of the time. How do I have the highest level of all magic abilities, 999 billion percent of the time? Why do I have the highest level of all magic abilities, 999 billion percent of the time? Did I always have the highest level of all magic abilities, 999 billion percent of the time? I have the highest level of all magic forms, 999 billion percent of the time. You have the highest level of all magic forms, 999 billion percent of the time. How do I have the highest level of all magic forms, 999 billion percent of the time? Why do I have the highest level of all magic forms, 999 billion percent of the time? Did I always have the highest level of all magic forms, 999 billion percent of the time? I have my desired spellbooks, 999 billion percent of the time. You have your desired spellbooks, 999 billion percent of the time. How do I have my desired spellbooks, 999 billion percent of the time? Why do I have my desired spellbooks, 999 billion percent of the time? Did I always have my desired spellbooks, 999 billion percent of the time? I know every spell in existence, 999 billion percent of the time. You know every spell in existence, 999 billion percent of the time. How do I know every spell in existence, 999 billion percent of the time? Why do I know every spell in existence, 999 billion percent of the time? Did I always know every spell in existence, 999 billion percent of the time? I remember every spell in existence, 999 billion percent of the time. You remember every spell in existence, 999 billion percent of the time. How do I remember every spell in existence, 999 billion percent of the time? Why do I remember every spell in existence, 999 billion percent of the time? Did I always remember every spell in existence, 999 billion percent of the time? I am protected at all times, 999 billion percent of the time. You are protected at all times, 999 billion percent of the time. How am I protected at all times, 999 billion percent of the time? Why am I protected at all times, 999 billion percent of the time? Was I protected at all times, 999 billion percent of the time? I am the most powerful witch in all existence, 999 billion percent of the time. You are the most powerful witch in all existence, 999 billion percent of the time. How am I the most powerful witch in all existence, 999 billion percent of the time? Why am I the most powerful witch in all existence, 999 billion percent of the time? Was I always the most powerful witch in all existence, 999 billion percent of the time? I am the most powerful witch in the universe, 999 billion percent of the time. You are the most powerful witch in the universe, 999 billion percent of the time. How am I the most powerful witch in the universe, 999 billion percent of the time? Why am I the most powerful witch in the universe, 999 billion percent of the time? Was I always the most powerful witch in the universe, 999 billion percent of the time? I am the most powerful witch in the world, 999 billion percent of the time. You are the most powerful witch in the world, 999 billion percent of the time. How am I the most powerful witch in the world, 999 billion percent of the time? Why am I the most powerful witch in the world, 999 billion percent of the time? Was I always the most powerful witch in the world, 999 billion percent of the time? I have X powers, 999 billion percent of the time. You have X powers, 999 billion percent of the time. How do I have X powers, 999 billion percent of the time? Why do I have X powers, 999 billion percent of the time? Did I always have X powers, 999 billion percent of the time? I can alter molecules 999 billion percent of the time. You can alter molecules 999 billion percent of the time. How can I alter molecules 999 billion percent of the time? Why can I alter molecules 999 billion percent of the time? Was I always able to alter molecules 999 billion percent of the time? I can alter energies 999 billion percent of the time. You can alter energies 999 billion percent of the time. How can I alter energies 999 billion percent of the time? Why can I alter energies 999 billion percent of the time? Was I always able to alter energies 999 billion percent of the time? I can wield chaos magic 999 billion percent of the time. You can wield chaos magic 999 billion percent of the time. How can I wield chaos magic 999 billion percent of the time? Why can I wield chaos magic 999 billion percent of the time? Was I always able to wield chaos magic 999 billion percent of the time? I can use chaos magic 999 billion percent of the time. You can use chaos magic 999 billion percent of the time. How can I use chaos magic 999 billion percent of the time? Why can I use chaos magic 999 billion percent of the time? Was I always able to use chaos magic 999 billion percent of the time? I can wield mystical energy 999 billion percent of the time. You can wield mystical energy 999 billion percent of the time. How can I wield mystical energy 999 billion percent of the time? Why can I wield mystical energy 999 billion percent of the time? Was I always able to wield mystical energy 999 billion percent of the time? I am the most powerful wielder of mystical energy 999 billion percent of the time. You are the most powerful wielder of mystical energy 999 billion percent of the time. How am I the most powerful wielder of mystical energy 999 billion percent of the time? Why am I the most powerful wielder of mystical energy 999 billion percent of the time? Was I always the most powerful wielder of mystical energy 999 billion percent of the time? I can manipulate reality 999 billion percent of the time. You can manipulate reality 999 billion percent of the time. How can I manipulate reality 999 billion percent of the time? Why can I manipulate reality 999 billion percent of the time? How can I manipulate reality 999 billion percent of the time? I have reality manipulation 999 billion percent of the time. You have reality manipulation 999 billion percent of the time. How do I have reality manipulation 999 billion percent of the time? Why do I have reality manipulation 999 billion percent of the time? Did I always have reality manipulation 999 billion percent of the time? I have reality manipulation abilities 999 billion percent of the time. You have reality manipulation abilities 999 billion percent of the time. How do I have reality manipulation abilities 999 billion percent of the time? Why do I have reality manipulation abilities 999 billion percent of the time? Did I always have reality manipulation abilities 999 billion percent of the time? I have reality manipulation powers 999 billion percent of the time. You have reality manipulation powers 999 billion percent of the time. How do I have reality manipulation powers 999 billion percent of the time? Why do I have reality manipulation powers 999 billion percent of the time? Did I always have reality manipulation powers 999 billion percent of the time? I have superhuman strength 999 billion percent of the time. You have superhuman strength 999 billion percent of the time. How do I have superhuman strength 999 billion percent of the time? Why do I have superhuman strength 999 billion percent of the time? Did I always have superhuman strength 999 billion percent of the time? I have enhanced strength 999 billion percent of the time. You have an enhanced strength 999 billion percent of the time. How do I have enhanced strength 999 billion percent of the time? Why do I have enhanced strength 999 billion percent of the time? Did I always have enhanced strength 999 billion percent of the time? My strength is unrivaled 999 billion percent of the time. Your strength is unrivaled 999 billion percent of the time. How is my strength unrivaled 999 billion percent of the time? Why is my strength unrivaled 999 billion percent of the time? Was my strength always unrivaled 999 billion percent of the time? I am 1,000 times stronger than any human 999 billion percent of the time. You are 1,000 times stronger than any human 999 billion percent of the time. How am I 1,000 times stronger than any human 999 billion percent of the time? Why am I 1,000 times stronger than any human 999 billion percent of the time? Was I always 1,000 times stronger than any human 999 billion percent of the time? I have telepathy 999 billion percent of the time. You have telepathy 999 billion percent of the time. How do I have telepathy 999 billion percent of the time? Why do I have telepathy 999 billion percent of the time? Did I always have telepathy 999 billion percent of the time? I have a sixth sense 999 billion percent of the time. You have a sixth sense 999 billion percent of the time. How do I have a sixth sense 999 billion percent of the time? Why do I have a sixth sense 999 billion percent of the time? Did I always always have 6% 999 billion% of the time. I can detect attacks 999 billion% of the time. I can detect attacks 999 billion% of the time. How can I detect attacks 999 billion% of the time? Why can I detect attacks 999 billion% of the time? Was I always able to detect attacks 999 billion% of the time? I can predict attacks 999 billion% of the time. You can predict attacks 999 billion% of the time. How can I predict attacks 999 billion% of the time? Why can I predict attacks 999 billion% of the time? Was I always able to predict attacks 999 billion% of the time? I can enter the minds of others 999 billion% of the time. You can enter the minds of others 999 billion% of the time. How can I enter the minds of others 999 billion% of the time? Why can I enter the minds of others 999 billion% of the time? Was I always able to enter the minds of others 999 billion% of the time? I can cause others nightmares 999 billion% of the time. You can cause others nightmares 999 billion% of the time. How can I cause nightmares 999 billion% of the time? Why can I cause nightmares 999 billion% of the time? Did I always cause nightmares 999 billion% of the time? I can manipulate dreams 999 billion% of the time. You can manipulate dreams 999 billion% of the time. How can I manipulate dreams 999 billion% of the time? Why can I manipulate dreams 999 billion% of the time? Was I always able to manipulate dreams 999 billion% of the time? I can make people see illusions 999 billion% of the time. You can make people see illusions 999 billion% of the time. How can I make people see illusions 999 billion% of the time? Why can I make people see illusions 999 billion% of the time? Was I always able to make people see illusions 999 billion% of the time? My powers get increasingly more powerful 999 billion% of the time. Your powers get increasingly more powerful 999 billion% of the time. How do my powers get increasingly more powerful 999 billion% of the time? Why do my powers get increasingly more powerful 999 billion% of the time? Did my powers always get increasingly more powerful 999 billion% of the time? I have powerful mind 999 billion% of the time. You have powerful mind 999 billion% of the time. How do I have powerful mind 999 billion% of the time? Why do I have powerful mind 999 billion% of the time? Did I always have powerful mind 999 billion% of the time? I can resurrect the dead 999 billion% of the time. You can resurrect the dead 999 billion% of the time. How can I resurrect the dead 999 billion% of the time? Why can I resurrect the dead 999 billion% of the time? Was I always able to resurrect the dead 999 billion% of the time? I can warp reality 999 billion% of the time. You can warp reality 999 billion% of the time. How can I warp reality 999 billion% of the time? Why can I warp reality 999 billion% of the time? Was I always able to warp reality 999 billion% of the time? I have full control over my powers 999 billion% of the time. You have full control over your powers 999 billion% of the time. How do I have full control over my powers 999 billion% of the time? Why do I have full control over my powers 999 billion% of the time? Did I always have full control over my powers 999 billion% of the time? I can rewrite reality 999 billion% of the time. You can rewrite reality 999 billion% of the time. How can I rewrite reality 999 billion% of the time? Why can I rewrite reality 999 billion% of the time? Was I always able to rewrite reality 999 billion% of the time? I can take powers away 999 billion% of the time. You can take powers away 999 billion% of the time. How can I take powers away 999 billion% of the time? Why can I take powers away 999 billion% of the time? Was I always able to take powers away 999 billion% of the time? I can channel incredibly strong amounts of power 999 billion% of the time. You can channel incredibly strong amounts of power 999 billion% of the time. How can I channel incredibly strong amounts of power 999 billion% of the time? Why can I channel incredibly strong amounts of power 999 billion% of the time? Was I always able to channel incredibly strong amounts of power 999 billion% of the time? I am incredibly powerful 999 billion% of the time. You are incredibly powerful 999 billion% of the time. How am I incredibly powerful 999 billion% of the time? Why am I incredibly powerful 999 billion% of the time? Was I always incredibly powerful 999 billion% of the time? I can use my power subconsciously 999 billion% of the time. You can use your power subconsciously 999 billion% of the time. How can I use my power subconsciously 999 billion% of the time? Why can I use my power subconsciously 999 billion% of the time? Was I always always able to use my powers subconsciously 999 billion% of the time. I can cast spells with just my thoughts 999 billion% of the time. You can cast spells with just your thoughts 999 billion% of the time. How can I cast spells with just your thoughts 999 billion% of the time? Why can I cast spells with just your thoughts 999 billion% of the time? Was I always able to cast spells with just your thoughts 999 billion% of the time? I can give others powers 999 billion% of the time. You can give others powers 999 billion% of the time. How can I give others powers 999 billion% of the time? Why can I give others powers 999 billion% of the time? Was I always able to give others powers 999 billion% of the time? I can cast spells with just my mind 999 billion% of the time. You can cast spells with just your mind 999 billion% of the time. How can I cast spells with just my mind 999 billion% of the time? Why can I cast spells with just my mind 999 billion% of the time? Was I always able to cast spells with just my mind 999 billion% of the time? My powers are amplified by the universe 999 billion% of the time. Your powers are amplified by the universe 999 billion% of the time. How are my powers amplified by the universe 999 billion% of the time? Why are my powers amplified by the universe 999 billion% of the time? Was my powers always amplified by the universe 999 billion% of the time? I can fly 999 billion% of the time. You can fly 999 billion% of the time. How can I fly 999 billion% of the time? Why can I fly 999 billion% of the time? Was I always able to fly 999 billion% of the time? I have telekinesis 999 billion% of the time. You have telekinesis 999 billion% of the time. How do I have telekinesis 999 billion% of the time? Why do I have telekinesis 999 billion% of the time? Did I always have telekinesis 999 billion% of the time? I have energy blasts 999 billion% of the time. You have energy blasts 999 billion% of the time. How do I have energy blasts 999 billion% of the time? Why do I have energy blasts 999 billion% of the time? Did I always have energy blasts 999 billion% of the time? I can create force fields 999 billion% of the time. You can create force fields 999 billion% of the time. How can I create force fields 999 billion% of the time? Why can I create force fields 999 billion% of the time? Was I always able to create force fields 999 billion% of the time? I can contain explosions 999 billion% of the time. You can contain explosions 999 billion% of the time. How can I contain explosions 999 billion% of the time? Why can I contain explosions 999 billion% of the time? Was I always able to contain explosions 999 billion% of the time? I can destroy the most powerful materials in the universe 999 billion% of the time. You can destroy the most powerful materials in the universe 999 billion% of the time. How can I destroy the most powerful materials in the universe 999 billion% of the time? Why can I destroy the most powerful materials in the universe 999 billion% of the time? Was I always able to destroy the most powerful materials in the universe 999 billion% of the time? I can create visions in others 999 billion% of the time. You can create visions in others 999 billion% of the time. How can I create visions in others 999 billion% of the time? Why can I create visions in others 999 billion% of the time? Was I always able to create visions in others 999 billion% of the time? I have mental manipulation 999 billion% of the time. You have mental manipulation 999 billion% of the time. How do I have mental manipulation 999 billion% of the time? Why do I have mental manipulation 999 billion% of the time? Did I always have mental manipulation 999 billion% of the time? I can control others' minds 999 billion% of the time. You can control others' minds 999 billion% of the time. How can I control others' minds 999 billion% of the time? Why can I control others' minds 999 billion% of the time? Was I always able to control others' minds 999 billion% of the time? I can suppress things in others' minds 999 billion% of the time. You can suppress things in others' minds 999 billion% of the time. How can I suppress things in others' minds 999 billion% of the time? Why can I suppress things in others' minds 999 billion% of the time? Was I always able to suppress things in others' minds 999 billion% of the time? I can hack minds 999 billion% of the time. You can hack minds 999 billion% of the time. How can I hack minds 999 billion% of the time? Why can I hack minds 999 billion% of the time? Was I always able to hack minds 999 billion% of the time? I can do mind control 999 billion% of the time. You can do mind control 999 billion% of the time. How can I do mind control 999 billion% of the time? Why can I do mind control 999 billion% of the time? Was I always able to do mind control 999 billion% of the time? I can speak telepathically 999 billion% of the time. You can speak telepathically 999 billion% percent of the time? How can I speak telepathically 999 billion percent of the time? Why can I speak telepathically 999 billion percent of the time? Was I always able to speak telepathically 999 billion percent of the time? I can read minds 999 billion percent of the time. You can read minds 999 billion percent of the time. How can I read minds 999 billion percent of the time? Why can I read minds 999 billion percent of the time? Was I always able to read minds 999 billion percent of the time? I can bend the law of physics 999 billion percent of the time. You can bend the law of physics 999 billion percent of the time. How can I bend the laws of physics 999 billion percent of the time? Why can I bend the laws of physics 999 billion percent of the time? Was I always able to bend the laws of physics 999 billion percent of the time? I can create matter 999 billion percent of the time. You can create matter 999 billion percent of the time. How can I create matter 999 billion percent of the time? Why can I create matter 999 billion percent of the time? Was I always able to create matter 999 billion percent of the time? I can teleport 999 billion percent of the time. You can teleport 999 billion percent of the time. How can I teleport 999 billion percent of the time? Why can I teleport 999 billion percent of the time? Was I always able to teleport 999 billion percent of the time? I can teleport others 999 billion percent of the time. You can teleport others 999 billion percent of the time. How can I teleport others 999 billion percent of the time? Why can I teleport others 999 billion percent of the time? Was I always able to teleport others 999 billion percent of the time? I have elemental manipulation 999 billion percent of the time. I have elemental manipulation 999 billion percent of the time. How do I have elemental manipulation 999 billion percent of the time? Why do I have elemental manipulation 999 billion percent of the time? Did I always have elemental manipulation 999 billion percent of the time? I have elemental abilities 999 billion percent of the time. You have elemental abilities 999 billion percent of the time. How do I have elemental abilities 999 billion percent of the time? Why do I have elemental abilities 999 billion percent of the time? Did I always have elemental abilities 999 billion percent of the time? I can control time 999 billion percent of the time. You can control time 999 billion percent of the time. How can I control time 999 billion percent of the time? Why can I control time 999 billion percent of the time? Was I always able to control time 999 billion percent of the time? I can rewind time 999 billion percent of the time. You can rewind time 999 billion percent of the time. How can I rewind time 999 billion percent of the time? Why can I rewind time 999 billion percent of the time? Was I always able to rewind time 999 billion percent of the time? I can speed up time 999 billion percent of the time. You can speed up time 999 billion percent of the time. How can I speed up time 999 billion percent of the time? Why can I speed up time 999 billion percent of the time? Was I always able to speed up time 999 billion percent of the time? I can absorb magic 999 billion percent of the time. You can absorb magic 999 billion percent of the time. How can I absorb magic 999 billion percent of the time? Why can I absorb magic 999 billion percent of the time? Was I always able to absorb magic 999 billion percent of the time? I can absorb K.E.X 999 billion percent of the time. You can absorb K.E.X 999 billion percent of the time. How can I absorb K.E.X 999 billion percent of the time? Why can I absorb K.E.X 999 billion percent of the time? Was I always able to absorb K.E.X 999 billion percent of the time? I have astral projection 999 billion percent of the time. I have astral projection 999 billion percent of the time. How do I have astral projection 999 billion percent of the time? Why do I have astral projection 999 billion percent of the time? Did I always have astral projection 999 billion percent of the time? I am a master at astral projection 999 billion percent of the time. You are a master at astral projection 999 billion percent of the time. How am I a master at astral projection 999 billion percent of the time? Why am I a master at astral projection 999 billion percent of the time? Was I always a master at astral projection 999 billion percent of the time? I can astral project 999 billion percent of the time. You can astral project 999 billion percent of the time. How can I astral project 999 billion percent of the time? Why can I astral project 999 billion percent of the time? Was I always able to astral project 999 billion percent of the time? I cannot be corrupted 999 billion percent of the time. You cannot be corrupted 999 billion percent of the time. How can I not be corrupted 999 billion percent of the time? Why can I not be corrupted 999 billion percent of the time? Was I always not able to be corrupted 999 billion percent of the time? I embody the Scarlet which 999 billion percent of the time. You embody the Scarlet which 999 billion percent of the time. How do I embody the Scarlet which 999 billion percent of the time? Why do I embody the Scarlet which 999 billion percent of the time? Was I always able to embody the Scarlet which 999 billion percent of the time? I grow more powerful every day 999 billion% of the time. You grow more powerful every day 999 billion% of the time. How do I grow more powerful every day 999 billion% of the time? Why do I grow more powerful every day 999 billion% of the time? Did I always grow more powerful every day 999 billion% of the time? I grow insanely powerful every second 999 billion% of the time. You grow insanely powerful every second 999 billion% of the time. How do I grow insanely powerful every second 999 billion% of the time? Why do I grow insanely powerful every second 999 billion% of the time? Did I always grow insanely powerful every second 999 billion% of the time? I grow insanely powerful every minute 999 billion% of the time. You grow insanely powerful every minute 999 billion% of the time. How do I grow insanely powerful every minute 999 billion% of the time? Why do I grow insanely powerful every minute 999 billion% of the time? Did I always grow insanely powerful every minute 999 billion% of the time? I grow incredibly powerful every millisecond 999 billion% of the time. You grow insanely powerful every millisecond 999 billion% of the time. How do I grow insanely powerful every millisecond 999 billion% of the time? Why do I grow insanely powerful every millisecond 999 billion% of the time? Did I always grow insanely powerful every millisecond 999 billion% of the time? I grow insanely powerful every hour 999 billion% of the time. You grow insanely powerful every hour 999 billion% of the time. How do I grow insanely powerful every hour 999 billion% of the time? Why do I grow insanely powerful every hour 999 billion% of the time? Did I always grow insanely powerful every hour 999 billion% of the time? I am trained in all forms of combat 999 billion% of the time. You are trained in all forms of combat 999 billion% of the time. How am I trained in all forms of combat 999 billion% of the time? Why am I trained in all forms of combat 999 billion% of the time? Because I always trained in combat 999 billion% of the time. I have unrivaled powers 999 billion% of the time. You have unrivaled powers 999 billion% of the time. How do I have unrivaled powers 999 billion% of the time? Why do I have unrivaled powers 999 billion% of the time? Did I always have unrivaled powers 999 billion% of the time? My power is unrivaled 999 billion% of the time. Your power is unrivaled 999 billion% of the time. How is my power unrivaled 999 billion% of the time? Why is my power unrivaled 999 billion% of the time? Was my power always unrivaled 999 billion% of the time? I have unrivaled skills 999 billion% of the time. You have unrivaled skills 999 billion% of the time. How do I have unrivaled skills 999 billion% of the time? Why do I have unrivaled skills 999 billion% of the time? Did I always have unrivaled skills 999 billion% of the time? My skills are unrivaled 999 billion% of the time. Your skills are unrivaled 999 billion% of the time. How are my skills unrivaled 999 billion% of the time? Why are my skills unrivaled 999 billion% of the time? Was my skills always unrivaled 999 billion% of the time? I have unrivaled magic 999 billion% of the time. You have unrivaled magic 999 billion% of the time. How do I have unrivaled magic 999 billion% of the time? Why do I have unrivaled magic 999 billion% of the time? Did I always have unrivaled magic 999 billion% of the time? My magic is unrivaled 999 billion% of the time. Your magic is unrivaled 999 billion% of the time. How is my magic unrivaled 999 billion% of the time? Why is my magic unrivaled 999 billion% of the time? Was my magic always unrivaled 999 billion% of the time? I am incredibly flexible 999 billion% of the time. You are incredibly flexible 999 billion% of the time. How am I incredibly flexible 999 billion% of the time? Why am I incredibly flexible 999 billion% of the time? Was I always so incredibly flexible 999 billion% of the time? I have incredible spice skills 999 billion% of the time. You have incredible spice skills 999 billion% of the time. How do I have incredible spice skills 999 billion% of the time? Why do I have incredible spice skills 999 billion% of the time? Did I always have incredible spice skills 999 billion% of the time? I have incredible stealth skills 999 billion% of the time. You have incredible stealth skills 999 billion% of the time. How do I have incredible stealth skills 999 billion% of the time? Why do I have incredible stealth skills 999 billion% of the time? Did I always have incredible stealth skills 999 billion% of the time? I am incredibly stealthy 999 billion% of the time. You are incredibly stealthy 999 billion% of the time. How am I incredibly stealthy 999 billion% of the time? Why am I incredibly stealthy 999 billion% of the time? Was I always incredibly stealthy 999 billion% of the time? I have incredibly good reflexes 999 billion percent of the time. You have incredibly good reflexes 999 billion percent of the time. How do I have incredibly good reflexes 999 billion percent of the time? Why do I have incredibly good reflexes 999 billion percent of the time? Did I always have incredibly good reflexes 999 billion percent of the time? I have godly reflexes 999 billion percent of the time. You have godly reflexes 999 billion percent of the time. How do I have godly reflexes 999 billion percent of the time? Why do I have godly reflexes 999 billion percent of the time? Did I always have godly reflexes 999 billion percent of the time? I have incredibly fast reflexes 999 billion percent of the time. You have incredibly fast reflexes 999 billion percent of the time. Why do I have incredibly fast reflexes 999 billion percent of the time? Did I always have incredibly fast reflexes 999 billion percent of the time? My reflexes are the fastest reflexes of all time 999 billion percent of the time. Your reflexes are the fastest reflexes of all time 999 billion percent of the time. How are my reflexes the fastest reflexes of all time 999 billion percent of the time? Why are my reflexes the fastest reflexes of all time 999 billion percent of the time? Did I always have the fastest reflexes of all time 999 billion percent of the time? How do my reflexes have incredible precision 999 billion percent of the time? Why do my reflexes have incredible precision 999 billion percent of the time? Did my reflexes always have incredible precision 999 billion percent of the time? I have an amazing reaction time 999 billion percent of the time. You have an amazing reaction time 999 billion percent of the time. How do I have an amazing reaction time 999 billion percent of the time? Why do I have an amazing reaction time 999 billion percent of the time? Did I always have such an amazing reaction time 999 billion percent of the time? I have the fastest reaction time in the world 999 billion percent of the time. You have the fastest reaction time in the world 999 billion percent of the time. How do I have the fastest reaction time in the world 999 billion percent of the time? Why do I have the fastest reaction time in the world 999 billion percent of the time? Did I always have the fastest reaction time in the world 999 billion percent of the time? I can make others forget things 999 billion percent of the time. You can make others forget things 999 billion percent of the time. How can I make others forget things 999 billion percent of the time? Why can I make others forget things 999 billion percent of the time? Was I always able to make others forget things 999 billion percent of the time? I can compel someone 999 billion percent of the time. You can compel someone 999 billion percent of the time. How can I compel someone 999 billion percent of the time? Why can I compel someone 999 billion percent of the time? Was I always able to compel others 999 billion percent of the time? I have magic-like abilities 999 billion percent of the time. You have magic-like abilities 999 billion percent of the time. How do I have magic-like abilities 999 billion percent of the time? Why do I have magic-like abilities 999 billion percent of the time? Did I always have magic-like abilities 999 billion percent of the time? I have sleight of hand 999 billion percent of the time. You have sleight of hand 999 billion percent of the time. How do I have sleight of hand 999 billion percent of the time? Why do I have sleight of hand 999 billion percent of the time? Did I always have sleight of hand 999 billion percent of the time? I am very insightful 999 billion percent of the time. You are very insightful 999 billion percent of the time. How am I so insightful 999 billion percent of the time? Why am I so insightful 999 billion percent of the time? Was I always so insightful 999 billion percent of the time? I am always accurate with my intuition 999 billion percent of the time. You are always accurate with your intuition 999 billion percent of the time. How am I so accurate with my intuition 999 billion percent of the time? Why am I so accurate with my intuition 999 billion percent of the time? Was I always so accurate with my intuition 999 billion percent of the time? I am willing to learn from others 999 billion percent of the time. You are willing to learn from others 999 billion percent of the time. How am I so willing to learn from others 999 billion percent of the time? Why am I so willing to learn from others 999 billion percent of the time? Was I always so willing to learn from others 999 billion percent of the time? I have sensing abilities 999 billion percent of the time. You have sensing abilities 999 billion percent of the time. How do I have sensing abilities 999 billion percent of the time? Why do I have sensing abilities 999 billion percent of the time? Did I always have sensing abilities 999 billion percent of the time? I have an incredibly high pain tolerance 999 billion percent of the time. You have an incredibly high pain tolerance 999 billion percent of the time. How do I have such a high pain tolerance 999 billion percent of the time? Why do I have such a high pain tolerance 999 billion percent of the time? Did I always have such a high pain tolerance 999 billion percent of the time? I have an incredible strong best friend 999 billion percent of the time. You have incredibly strong best friends 999 billion percent of the time. How do I have incredibly strong best friends 999 billion percent of the time? Why do I have incredibly strong best friends 999 billion percent of the time? Did I always have incredibly strong best friends 999 billion percent of the time? have someone to learn with 999 billion% of the time? You have someone to learn with 999 billion% of the time. How do I have someone to learn with 999 billion% of the time? Why do I have someone to learn with 999 billion% of the time? Did I always have someone to learn with 999 billion% of the time? I have someone to experience great life with 999 billion% of the time. You have someone to experience great life with 999 billion% of the time. How do I have someone to experience great life with 999 billion% of the time? Why do I have someone to experience great life with 999 billion% of the time? Did I always have someone to experience a great life with? I have my desired R 999 billion% of the time. 999 billion% of the time. You have your desired R 999 billion% of the time. How do I have my desired R 999 billion% of the time? Why do I have my desired R 999 billion% of the time? Did I always have my desired R 999 billion% of the time? I have incredible fighting abilities 999 billion% of the time. You have incredible fighting abilities 999 billion% of the time. How do I have incredible fighting abilities 999 billion% of the time? Why do I have incredible fighting abilities 999 billion% of the time? Did I always have incredible fighting abilities 999 billion% of the time? I have the strength to go against an entire army 999 billion% of the time. You have the strength to go against an entire army 999 billion% of the time. How do I have the strength to go against an entire army 999 billion% of the time? Why do I have the strength to go against an entire army 999 billion% of the time? Did I always have the strength to go against an entire army 999 billion% of the time? I have the stamina to go against an entire army 999 billion% of the time. You have the stamina to go against an entire army 999 billion% of the time. How do I have the stamina to go against an entire army 999 billion% of the time? Why do I have the stamina to go against an entire army 999 billion% of the time? Did I always have the stamina to go against an entire army 999 billion% of the time? I have the power to go against an entire army 999 billion% of the time. You have the power to go against an entire army 999 billion% of the time. How do I have the power to go against an entire army 999 billion% of the time? Why do I have the power to go against an entire army 999 billion% of the time? Did I always have the power to go against an entire army 999 billion% of the time? I have the skill to go against an entire army 999 billion% of the time. You have the skill to go against an entire army 999 billion% of the time. How do I have the skill to go against an entire army 999 billion% of the time? Why do I have the skill to go against an entire army 999 billion% of the time? Did I always have the skill to go against an entire army 999 billion% of the time? I have the ability to go against an entire army 999 billion% of the time. You have the ability to go against an entire army 999 billion% of the time. How do I have the ability to go against an entire army 999 billion% of the time? Why do I have the ability to go against an entire army 999 billion% of the time? Did I always have the ability to go against an entire army 999 billion% of the time? I can take on an entire army 999 billion% of the time. You can take on an entire army 999 billion% of the time. How can I take on an entire army 999 billion% of the time? Why can I take on an entire army 999 billion% of the time? Was I always able to take on an entire army 999 billion% of the time? I am one person army 999 billion% of the time. You are one person army 999 billion% of the time. How am I one person army 999 billion% of the time? Why am I one person army 999 billion% of the time? Was I always one person army 999 billion% of the time? I can win a battle against an entire army on my own 999 billion% of the time. You can win a battle against an entire army on your own 999 billion% of the time. How can I win a battle against an entire army on my own 999 billion% of the time? Why can I win a battle against an entire army on my own 999 billion% of the time? Was I always able to win against an entire army on my own 999 billion% of the time? My power surpasses all before 999 billion% of the time. Your power surpasses all before you 999 billion% of the time. How does my power surpass all before me 999 billion% of the time? Why does my power surpass all before me 999 billion% of the time? Did my power always surpass all before me 999 billion% of the time? My power surpasses all who follow me 999 billion% of the time. Your power surpasses all who follow you 999 billion% of the time. How does my power surpass all who follow me 999 billion% of the time? Why do I surpass all who follow me 999 billion% of the time? Was my power always meant to surpass all who follow me 999 billion% of the time? You have your desired permanent result 999 billion% of the time. I have my desired permanent result 999 billion% of the time. Why do I have my desired permanent result 999 billion% of the time? How do I have my desired permanent result 999 billion% of the time? Did I always have my desired permanent result 999 billion% of the time? I get my desired permanent result 999 billion% of the time. You get your desired permanent result 999 billion% of the time. How do I get my desired permanent result 999 Why do I get my desired permanent result 999 billion% of the time? Did I always get my desired permanent